Hello again, everyone. Craig here with Craig Dacey Financial Coaching, and I'm bringing you a EveryDollar tutorial. And today we're going to be talking about what to do if your company gives you reimbursements, right? So you work for a job, maybe you have to travel, and you pay for all your expenses, and then they reimburse you for that. So what can you do? How do we manage that without using the credit card, right? So if you're trying to break that habit of using debt, we don't want to be charging it on the credit card and paying that card off. We want to avoid that. So how can we do it in that way? I'm going to be showing you that today and how to use EveryDollar to do so. Now, before I do want to offer you my free financial freedom roadmap. There's a link in the description below. If you click that, this will be emailed directly to your inbox. This is a step-by-step guide out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle. I broke it down into some easy to manage steps that I think are super important in the right order, but something that you can just take small bites out of this overwhelming process, right? So grab that. It's absolutely free. You can use it as a checklist, something just to follow to keep you on track moving forward. All right, let's take a look at this budget. So you work for a company, right? And let's say that they reimburse you on money. So what can you do? Well, I'll tell you what I like to do, and it's going to take some setup in the front. So typically the standard person uses a credit card, right? They swipe the card all month, and then at the end of the month, they turn in their receipts, they get a check replacing it. So if they spent $500, they get a check replacing that $500. That's one way to do it, and then you go pay off the card. If you're trying to stop using debt, though, what can you do? Well, I like to set up a company reimbursement sinking fund, right? So I save some money. And the way I go about that is I would recommend just thinking in the typical trip, how much do I spend? What's the most I think I would need to spend on a business trip or in a month? And just think back to the past 6 months. What was the biggest one? You could probably go back to your records to see what your largest reimbursement was. And that's what I'm going to stick into a fund. So if it was $200, well, then I'm going to save $200 into a company fund. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to either create a category. So you can create a category for your company. You can add, if you want to be super specific, you can add your food, your restaurants, your gas. You can do all those things. The other thing you can do is you can just simply stick it under one of your lifestyles, or if you want to keep the company one, I can just keep, which I probably will. I'm just going to keep one category. I'm just going to title it reimbursements. Now, what I want to do with this is the first thing I want to do is click on it. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make this a fund. So that way, any money that I put in, it's going to automatically carry it over. Now, I'm working ahead, so that's why you'll see the starting balances grayed out because I'm in the wrong month right now, but that's okay. So we want to make this a fund. So if I think I need $200, well, then I'm going to plan on $200. Now, that's going to put me over budget here. So maybe I need to tweak some stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'll drop something down in here so that I can make it work, or just for simplicity's sake, don't you wish it always worked this way? I'm just going to adjust the payment just so we can move on with this. So now it's an EveryDollar budget. So I plan $200. I set that $200 aside into a checking account, in my checking account, a savings account, whatever. When I go on my work trip, I'm going to work out of here. So I fill up my tank. So $30 for gas. I'm going to put it into the reimbursements. You'll keep those receipts. Obviously, you have to go out to dinner. You spend $15. So dinner, whatever. You take a client out for coffee. So $10 and client coffee. So you're just going to track your expenses. So you'll see that I've spent $55. So when I turn in my receipts, I'm going to refill this. So I turn in my receipts. So at the end of the month, I turn them in, depending on how your business does it. So in June, I'm going to add in my reimbursements. So my company writes me that check, or they add it to my paycheck of $55. Then I can come down here and I can plan on putting $55 into my reimbursements. So now you'll see it's back to $200. Before I did that, it was $145. I put the $55 in that they give me to reimburse May, and now it's at $200 again. And then I work from this again. So for June, I start entering those transactions, And then at the end of June, they give me a check. And in July, I'll put that check back in to refill it. It should always be exact, right? You're giving them the receipts, so they're paying you exactly what you spent. So it should always refill itself. The only time that you're putting yourself out, because you'll see I have $200 left to budget. So May, I had to find that $200 because I haven't been working that way. I've always been trying to play catch up with my reimbursements. So May, I had to cut deep and maybe pull back on whatever I'm working on to put that $200 into a business fund. And then now I just refill it based on what they give me. Because that's really what we're doing with the credit card. We're charging it and we're paying it off. We're charging, we're paying it off. Well, we're using our fund and then we're paying it back. We're using our fund and we're paying it back. So that's what I would recommend you do when it comes to company reimbursements. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments box below, or if you have another video you'd like me to make answering another question you might have, let me know that as well. Otherwise, guys, be sure to hit subscribe to stay up to date on all my content that I'm bringing you, whether it's EveryDollar or something else on personal finance, and I will see you in the next video.